everybody, welcome to the FTW Podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. I am Harrison, and with me as always is Joe. Say hello, Joe.
What is up, my bitches?
Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Lee. Say hello, Lee.
How cool am I?
Very cool. We got Garvin manning the boards. Tonight is episode 123, coming to you live on July 17th, 2012. And on tonight's absolutely jam-packed show, we talk MITB, BFG, Raw1000, and many more abbreviations, and it should be an absolute blast of a night. But first, we have an update on Kevin.
Yeah, we got an update on Kevin. He's saved his spot in line for World Series tickets for the Reds because they're kicking ass. I don't want to talk about last night, despite what might have been me dying a little inside for
kicking ass until
3 weeks, whatever it might be. Adele was a damn good delay. Let's see. I went to Fast Forwarded, and I've already been to Burning Man. It sucks now that it's corporate. And the best part, without question, the best part of this sojourn was just popping champagne with LeBron after he won the championship.
Man.
I mean, I don't know how much better it got than that, but I just cheers it up. It drags some. I mean, it was so good to watch the guy finally get that ring that he's been so desperate for. I mean, I couldn't believe it, and it was great. It was great, and it was a great moment. I don't know if anybody else on the podcast might have thoughts about that, but for me,
Dude,
personally,
I got to hand it to you, and I'm really
for me personally, it was a great moment.
Okay, fine, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Cincinnati in the NBA Finals too. If you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show as well as upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, email. All those links and information is listed right there. So go right now, FTWpodcast.com. And Kevin's back, which is just phenomenal for today. So this is going to be awesome. But first things first, we're going to have reaction from last week's show. And because I was not on and Garvin was, I completely lack context on what any of these mean. So he's going to run us through these. Garvin, take it away.
Okay. Well, as everyone knows, the last 2 weeks, a listener named R. Kleinfall on YouTube sent us the idea that Stone Cold would come back to face The Undertaker. We all said that was an awful idea because why would Stone Cold come back to break the streak? Seemed dumb. So we said that, and R. Klein responded, and he corrected us, saying no, it was the other way around, Stone Cold would lose. Again, an equally awful idea. Well, R. Kleinfall, I think, has finally seen the light, and he sent us another response and said, thanks for the response to my Taker vs. Stone Cold at WrestleMania comment. After hearing you guys discuss it, you are probably right that it wouldn't be a good idea. Yes, it would not be a good idea. All right, keeping with the idea of Stone Cold coming back, DJ Clean Style says, I don't know if Stone Cold can't wrestle. He did say he could do one more match, but he wants to be against Punk. Exactly. That's why we didn't want to see this Taker. There's much better opportunities for a Stone Cold, like against a guy like Punk.
Yeah, and to our Kleinfall, I mean, we didn't want to, credit where's credit due. He did kind of come back and say, okay, now that we've talked about it, you guys are right, we were wrong. So, I mean, we appreciate that as opposed to, like, calling us idiots or something like that. I mean, that's very cool, man. I personally appreciate that.
Yes, thanks for listening, even though we told you 2 weeks in a row that your ideas were awful.
Oh, no, just that.
Because, that's what we are. We're a bunch of dicks who just sit here and tell you your idea is awful.
But we
At least we're admitting it now.
Such dedicated subscribers.
Oh, my God.
Make sure to click that like button, folks. Make sure to click that.
Yeah.
Be it on YouTube or Facebook. You can tout just fucking go to town, man. It's crazy.
All right, moving on. Responding to the Aces and Eights discussion from Destination X and Impact from last week, Violent RIC basically corrected us. He said, I'm very surprised that none of you heard Taz and Tenay basically explain what we all thought could be a good possibility, which was, the dude said they're not cowards. Hogan called Sting's attackers cowards. You think that's what it's all about? Yeah, okay, we all missed it. But that's where they were going with it, and I think they're going in a good direction. Violent RIC also wanted to give props to Sanjay Dutt. He said, I agree with your thoughts on Destination X, and I'll add that Sanjay Dutt is a fucking beast. To the short-sighted, narrow-minded dipshites who say wrestling's not fake, show me another fake medium of entertainment where a man will roll out of the ring clearly in intense pain, receive medical attention after possibly separating his shoulder, only to think, I'm needed in there. Get back in the ring, climb a 15-foot scaffold to do the spot where he falls from said scaffold to the canvas. No one else would do that. And I think we can all agree. Sanjay Dutt did what he needed to do for that match, and yeah, badass.
Yeah, absolutely. Credit. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on, Rep.
Assuming it was, assuming what the feared injury is what actually happened, a separated shoulder. Every step of climbing that scaffold had to hurt like hell.
Yeah,
and then to fall from that scaffolding directly onto your shoulder again. I mean, massive props to Sanjay for being willing to do that to himself.
Separated shoulder is supposed to be one of the most painful injuries you can sustain.
Yeah, you can see on Wade Barrett's face. Yeah, you can see on Wade Barrett's face when it happened to him. Oh, no, it was the separated elbow? Is what happened to him? Or was it his clavicle? Regardless, yeah, I mean, Kevin, yeah, it hurts like hell. Credit where credit's due, the guy was amazing. But I do want to point out that doing shit like this is why Mick Foley walks the way he does.
Oh, yeah.
That and he's pretty heavy.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, we applaud these guys for doing this kind of thing for the devotion for the crap. But when Sanjay Dutt's pushing 50, do you think he's going to be able to move like you and I will be able to? No.
Probably not.
I mean, that's basically what he's doing, is he's carving years off his life every time he does something like this. So props to him for that. But, dude. I mean, think about your retirement, man. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. When I saw it.
One of the sad things about the wrestling business is that a lot of wrestlers are forced to do that.
Right.
To make money to get by.
Yeah, and we've gone over it tons of times. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say that one thing.
All right, moving on. There was another comment by our Kleinfall. Basically, he doesn't want the conversation to die about who should end Taker's streak. So we're going to discuss it real briefly here. Our Kleinfall, he posted, other than watching Undertaker beat Cena, is there anyone else that you would want Undertaker to beat at WrestleMania before he retires? And before you guys respond, let me throw this one out. Bazemic505 from YouTube also commented that the only person that he thinks that could have been able to end Taker's streak yet not make that his legacy is a Ric Flair, but only the Ric Flair before he retired from WWE.
But that's just it. At this point, it's so built up. No. 20-0. Just walk away.
And I think they will. I'm sorry.
Right, but if you're going to pick people you would like to see him beat before he retires, I mean, obviously Cena tops the list. Is there anybody else?
Lesnar.
I don't want to see Lesnar.
I've already seen him beat Lesnar.
Get out of here with your Lesnar.
Is Lesnar earned that right? No.
I'm just saying because just to put to bed back when Lesnar was in the UFC and he had that one loss to what's-his-face and Taker was there and they had that run-in. And seriously, I mean, come on, we were all there. All we got was nothing but emails and stuff from fans saying, oh, it's going to be awesome. He'll be the one that breaks the streak. And then when Lesnar came back, that was one of the top discussion was, is he going to face Cena, win the title or whatever? Is he going to break the streak? I just want Taker to beat Lesnar, just to beat him, and just put that.
But he's already done that. It doesn't have to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it doesn't have to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm just saying, I just want Lesnar and Taker to have that match, Taker to beat him, so that way I can stop hearing about Taker going on against Lesnar and having Lesnar beat the streak.
Okay. Correction. I don't think Taker beat Lesnar. Lesnar did beat Taker, but I don't remember if Taker ever beat Lesnar.
No,
regardless, he does not deserve it. He should never do that. Lesnar is not even the
No, but I would love
not even the same freaking continent as Taker. No.
Thank you. Sorry. Finally, I have some backup on that.
Whoa.
Welcome back.
I'm not saying Lesnar should beat Taker.
Glad to be back, Rob. Love you.
Lesnar. Taker should beat Lesnar. That's all I'm saying. But no, I mean, not even Lesnar. I mean, I think Cena. If you're gonna have him fight anybody else after Cena, for 20-0, if he's gonna go 21-0, it's got to be Kane and call it a day.
Yes, thank you, Joe. I mean, I can't imagine anybody else would want to see, just because, I mean, for storyline purposes, it works out so beautifully. I mean, the whole thing of Kane coming back was entirely because of Undertaker, and I can't imagine any more poignant.
I'm going to have to stop you there, Harrison. I'm going to have to stop you there. This is coming from a company that I can't remember from 2 months ago. So to remember it from God only knows however many years ago it was with Kane, you've got no chance in hell.
No, I understand that, but
in
I mean, just for me as a fan, the only two
Thanks,
people,
Vince.
and I can imagine, the only two people, and I'm willing to bet this is echoed by a lot of people, the only two people I would ever want to see beat Undertaker and destroy the streak would be Kane and Shawn Michaels. And we're probably never going to see Shawn Michaels do it. So, Kane.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't want to see anyone beat the streak. So.
No one wants to see anybody beat it. But.
And
plus, and it's being brought up in the live chat. They're releasing the Streak DVD set. So why would they release that DVD only to have someone else break the streak? It doesn't make sense. So let's just move on.
Anyway.
Everyone who keeps sending us these questions, stop. We don't want to talk about this anymore. All right. During the Money in the Bank special, there was some discussion on who the longest reigning champion was in WWE history. We received 2 stats on YouTube. One was from DJ Clean Styles, and he said Bruno Sammartino had the WWF title for 8 years. So that's the longest.
Right, but that wasn't recent.
Correct.
We were talking in recent time.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was just throwing it out there. And then MyJu0 said the most recent longest reign that lasted over a year was Cena in 2006-2007. It lasted 380 days. The second most recent was Macho Man's first reign back in 1988 to 1989, which was 371 days.
Okay, that sounds legit.
And this one we received through YouTube. I'm not actually sure how to respond to this because I thought we were pretty clear the last couple of episodes. But Enter Attitude Era asked the question, why is TNA doing better than WWE?
Because they want it more.
We could be here all night.
Well, okay, real quick, I just want to sum up a conversation that Garvin and I were having earlier. And this is, real quick, just what I want to point out, what I was saying to him. It seems that TNA and WWE are putting their energy in engaging and getting the fans excited about 2 different products. WWE wants the fans to get excited about social media. TNA wants to get their fans excited about their product.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I look at those two things, and I think which one is more sustainable long-term. Set aside DirecTV, the whole shambles with that. I think that's what's going on right now.
In a basic premise, you're exactly right, Harrison. TNA did exactly what WWE should have done forever ago. They pushed a guy who's a TNA original in Bobby Roode, put good storylines around him and the rest of the wrestlers in the company, and wow, lo and behold, it worked. I mean, shocking.
I think the thing is both companies know where they are right now. WWE knows that they're approaching the saturation level of wrestling fans that they can get a hold of. I mean, they're running into kind of like the law of very large numbers, like kind of like Apple. You can't sell iPhones to everybody because there's no more people, so you have to wait for more people. And I think WWE is learning that right now. Whereas TNA, I think they realize, like Kevin's saying, that what they want to do is they know where they are right now. They know they're a second-tier company, maybe even third-tier, depending how you want to look at them. So they're going to slowly build an audience using their own homegrown product. And I think now that they're doing that, they're realizing the fans are responding to that and that we've been crying for it for years now. But anyway, that's what we want to say. If you want to react to this, definitely hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, especially about this one alone. Why do you guys think TNA is doing better than WWE? I mean, do you think that, I'm on the right track here? Do you think Kevin's got a good point? I mean, are you thinking it's something entirely different? Facebook, Twitter, definitely check us out. Facebook.com/FTWpodcast, Twitter.com/FTWpodcast, YouTube.com/theftwpodcast. Let us know what you think. All right, so speaking of TNA, Rob, Impact last week, I didn't get a chance to see it because I have DirecTV, and I get to go on a diet now. So, Rob, tell me, man. I mean, has Impact was it as good as it has been these past few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, there were some down moments, but for the most part, it was a pretty strong showing. It led off with the Anything Goes match, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park, and Bully Ray beats Joseph Park, opens him up, bleeding him, and then we see something interesting in the storyline. Bully Ray charges Joseph Park, and out of nowhere, Joseph Park hits him with a black hole slam. So, what I thought was a really strong point about this match was what happened after the match. When they talked to Bully Ray behind it, Bully Ray really did a good job of pushing the match, of pushing the storyline forward. When he points back at the match and says, "Who was that? You know, I beat Joseph Park. Who the hell was that just hit me with the black hole slam?" And then just walks around with this like scared, confused look on his face. You know, and it was just one more example. When he first started singles, I had less than no faith in Bully Ray's ability to compete as a singles competitor. But I mean, he just keeps driving home the skills that he's got.
I would, when he started going singles, I knew he would do well because he seemed to be. I mean, he's always had the character. He's always had the mic skills, and he was a pretty competent wrestler in the ring. I was worried more about Devon in the split, only because Devon didn't have as much of the Mike's character. You know, Bully Ray was always the talker, so it's good to see him just excelling right now.
Yeah, well, don't forget, this is Bully Ray, who at one point, his character gimmick was selling the stutter, the Dudley Boys, which he wouldn't say Dudley Boys until Devon smacked him in the back of the head to stop the stutter.
Well, we could just call back wrestlers really, really weird. Went back. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, go back to Matt Morgan and his stuttering gimmick in WWE.
I mean, look, I yank him. I mean, come on.
WWE nearly killed Matt Morgan's career. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying TNA won't let him do the elevator.
Okay. All right, so here's the thing. So Zema Ion defeated Dakota Darso, and this is kind of like that what we were talking about 2 weeks ago with the thinness in the X division. I mean, do you see the TNA is really starting to build that thing up and devoting a lot of energy to it?
Yeah, and this match did a couple of things. I mean, this match actually ended up pushing the Zema Ion Jesse Sorensen feud, because they did a backstage interview with Darso where Darso went on that he was a good friend of Jesse Sorensen. And, you know, he's like, you know, I'm a wrestler. My dad was a wrestler. I understand accidents happen, but when an accident happens, you come and check on the guy. You make sure he's okay. And for Zema Ion to act the way he has is just, you know, really pissing me off.
Right.
And they had a great match, and after the match, Ion injures Darso and continues taking shots at Jesse Sorensen and everything. So I was really pleased with Zema Ion's match to injure somebody only in storyline purposes and not actually injure somebody this time. And I was also impressed with the ability of Zema Ion and Dakota Darso to continue pushing a storyline forward.
Right, and the chat also agrees with that. They're saying that chat's saying that they love TNA, they loved Impact. AJ storyline can go, which I'm going to kick to you in a minute about that. I'm saying, but the Zema Ion is a dangerous X Division heel, playing the pretty effing crippler wrestler. I mean, they're loving that, and definitely is a great gimmick to have. Also liked Bully Ray's reaction post match. I think he quote knows what's going on. So yeah, it seems like that's really starting to turn a corner. But that's what I want to talk to you about, Rob. The AJ style storyline, did that advance at all? Real quick for him? I mean, did that advance at all in Impact? I mean, I didn't watch it, so.
Yes. Claire now seems to be on the side of Kazarian and Chris Daniels. She came out and said that, and agreed with them that the baby she's pregnant with is, in fact, AJ Styles' baby, which prompted the crowd to start the Jerry Springer chant, which is not a good idea which is not good when you're running a wrestling show. AJ
but at least
Styles,
it shows the crowd involvement. The crowd is actually invested enough to recognize that and chant that.
True.
Yeah.
AJ Styles ended up storming out of the building, obviously nervous and disturbed.
Okay.
not really sure about what's going on.
All right, cool. Tessmacher puts a nail in the coffin about her having the Knockouts title and taking out Gail Kim, which is awesome.
And
And
picks me up points for all the good it does.
yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. So Joe, SmackDown, take it away.
What is there to say about SmackDown? Alberto Del Rio beat Sin Cara by submission. Primo beat Darren Young. Dolph Ziggler and Cody Rhodes beat Christian Santino Marella. Big Show beat the Great Khali in a big, are we surprised at all match. Damian Sandow beat Justin Gabriel. And then Sheamus beat Chris Jericho in a non-title match. It was the entire thing was a filler show, in my opinion. There was no new developments, nothing really. I mean, they had just, I mean, everything was a Money in the Bank hype type match, like a warm-up match, but it just lacked any type of push to make the show actually worth anything other than filler.
Okay, now what I want to ask you is, with all this hype that WWE is putting into Raw 1000, do you feel that they're just not spending the energy on SmackDown?
They're not. And really, I had a hard time thinking in the recent Raws that they really didn't have much push for Money in the Bank in general. I mean, outside the Punk, Daniel Bryan, AJ storyline, I haven't found that Raw even had much momentum for the pay-per-view, aside from, you know, them hyping Raw 1000.
Cena with the Money in the Bank thing, but other than that.
But, I mean, that's still, I mean, that was...
one guy in one match, yeah.
Yeah, one guy, one match, not the match itself, but the guy.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't... And really, they really needed to hype the world title Money in the Bank because that's where you had a lot of guys. There should have been more.
That's fair. There was one thing I wanted to talk about.
And we can move on to Money in the Bank because, I mean...
Yeah, it basically concerns Raw more than SmackDown. Okay, so Money in the Bank... here we are. The big thing I want to pick up, basically the one thing I want to take out and just get your reaction for it from you guys is Layla Kaitlyn and Tamina Snuka beating Beth Phoenix, Natalya, and Eve. I mean, how about that, guy? No, really. I mean, just Dolph Ziggler. I mean, that's the one thing I want to talk about.
All right. Just to jump on that Layla Kaitlyn Tamina thing, just to get it out of the way. Yeah. One of the best things was the tweet I saw. Somebody said, "Wow, Vince must have a lot of faith in the Divas because he gave him 5 minutes instead of the normal 2." I don't remember who said that, but that was brilliant.
Okay, so Dolph Ziggler won the World Heavyweight Money in the Bank, and I just want to put this in the context of when we talked about before him being kind of like the late 2012, the standout star. Are we seeing the start of that?
Should be.
Yeah,
he was unfortunately my pick, and I wasn't on to give my pick. I'm glad. Garvin, you've criticized him for not being good on the mic. I personally disagree. Maybe lately he hasn't been as good, but 6 months ago we were talking about how on top of his game he was by battling people on the mic. Main eventers holding his his own promos that he were doing were flawless. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe they backed him off. You know, I don't know. I was glad to see them do it for the fact that I think he deserved some recognition for the achievements that he's done, for how good he's been in the ring, for the way he's done on the mic. I think he also needed something. I think he needed a little kickstart. I think this is what gives it to him. I think it was completely the right move by WWE. And I hope they run with this. I'm not saying you want him to run in and do the dance like The Miz did, and you know everybody, and then all of a sudden he can't get up or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I want to see them build around this. I think Ziggler needed it, and I think this was completely the right call by WWE in this case.
Just to clarify, Kevin, I didn't criticize Dolph Ziggler. I believe that was a message I read from the chat.
And me.
I thought it was comment. Neither here nor there. I'm sorry.
No,
I think Ziggler...
It's not the first time that Rob's made an argument and then it's hit the wrong, and then the counterpoint has hit the wrong person. So we'll just leave it as
I get to say whatever I want, and somebody else catches the shit for it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't like that, Rob. I Anyway, Lee, go on.
Let's follow that. No, I think Ziggler needed the win. We said on the pre-show, was it too obvious Ziggler to get it as such? With all the talent in the ring as such, will Dolph get it anyway? The shot at the title, but I think it was a smart move giving Dolph it because it guarantees he's going to be up there at some point. And also going back to the whole talking business, I think something that. With Ziggler, he's got Vicky there. That's really limited down his talk time. He's had no chance to get on the mic himself. It's all been Vicky introducing him.
Well, let me jump in here briefly.
Okay.
Just to get my point out, and then I'm done. The Ziggler talking thing with Vicky, that can be brought up in Raw, because I have something to say on that in Raw. But, I think that Ziggler's always had the talent all the way around to get to that next level. I don't necessarily think he needs the Money in the Bank briefcase to do that. I think he could do it on his own. I think a guy like Cody probably could have used it if they're going to push him to the next level, but maybe he's got to wait another year for that. But props to Ziggler.
Well, this thing, though, you guys say that he isn't very good on the mic, but he has those YouTube videos he does where he dresses down everybody else, and he does a really good job on those. Granted, they are edited and everything, but he still does a really good job. And, like we're probably going to talk about on Raw, at least Lee might bring up on Raw, is he did a really good job in his promo against Jericho. So I don't think he's been lacking mic skills. I don't know who you're saying Harrison is saying that he's bad on the mic, because I'm definitely not.
I'm saying he's bad on the mic.
Rob's saying he's bad on the mic.
No,
there are a lot of people who've been saying that he's not exactly the best on the mic.
And the benefit with YouTube is, as you mentioned, you can edit it.
Right.
Shit, I screwed up.
But the YouTube videos are not to a mass audience. How they're not gonna. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. No one will see them. It doesn't matter that no one's gonna 30,000, 40,000 followers, but it's nothing to WWE. In terms of their audience, no one.
Thank you, Lee. Good point.
Jesus, Lee. God,
it's two different scenarios. Oh, shut up.
All right, so Tag Team Championships was in the pre-show. Kofi and Truth that defended against Hunico and Camacho. It was expected that primetime players turned down this match because it was being the pre-show, so the pay-per-view card, so then they'd have their title match on Raw, which is what happened. We had the World Heavyweight Money in the Bank that we discussed. World Heavyweight Championship, Sheamus defeated Alberto Del Rio in, let's be honest, probably the easiest match to predict in the history of all mankind. Did anybody really think... Del Rio, even though he was on the poster in some cases, did anybody really think Sheamus was going to walk out of there with anything but the belt?
No.
There was a slim possibility, but with the way Alberto's been flaky, it's no way.
He could have done. He was winning pretty much everything through to the pay-per-view, which made him look good.
Too much injury history for Del Rio. Sheamus is doing so well, he still needed it. Yeah, no way.
Yeah,
if Sheamus is he's starting to get, well, so far, it's getting stale. Sorry, it's getting stale.
Yeah, that's really good.
Getting nothing.
No, Lee's got a really good point. He doesn't really have a lot of depth to his character. It's basically, I'm giant, I'm white, and I'm going to growl and kick you. That's all he's really got.
Because that's all Vince and WWE Creative want to give him at the moment.
I can't wait for my fail. Okay. I do want to bring up the chat saying hope Dolph doesn't get the Money in the Bank curse. I didn't want to kick that. I'm sorry, I forgot about that comment. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think we're going to have kind of like the same thing that happened? Almost happened to Miz. I don't know if you really want to say it happened to Miz. He's going to have the case. He's going to do awesome, and then WWE giveth, they taketh away, and we don't see Ziggler for a while, like his former tag team partner.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry. No. Go on.
No, Lee first, then Rob. Lee.
Okay. I think there was last year, towards the start of the title, a lot of in his attitude.
Okay, Lee.
People were saying
Lee, you're breaking up quite a bit.
You're breaking up
all over the place, and it's because.
Okay, Lee, you're breaking up. We're gonna kick to Rob. Rob, what do you think? Do you think that might happen to him?
I think it might. And that's one of the reasons why I was kind of hoping that Ziggler didn't win, because
he didn't look like a WWE champion. It's changed the mohawk around. He didn't look.
There we go. There's the Skype error.
Okay, I knew that was coming. All right, so Rob, I'm sorry, you were saying you think it? Okay, so you're thinking it will happen to him.
I think there's a big chance that he'll end up as Jack Swagger version 2.0.
Okay. Chad saying about Sheamus versus ADR. I knew that Del Rio was going to lose, but I really wanted him to win. I think I was in that boat too. I mean, I think Del Rio really needs a kick in the pants. Sheamus is boring, and he looked bad at Money in the Bank. True. He did all the work on Sheamus's arm, and it went nowhere. That's a really good point too. All right. So from there, Ryback defeated Hawkins and Rex, which is kind of interesting because big Carters. What do you guys want to talk about first? Do you want to do the WWE Championship or the Money in the Bank match?
Meh. I think I want to touch briefly on the Hawkins Rex thing.
Oh, okay, real quick, and then we'll kick it to the Punk Bryan match. Okay,
right. So I think that Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins, I think they did a tremendous job. I mean, they were the first duo to actually, even singularly, were the first ones to really seem to kind of take Ryback down a notch. But I mean, with Ryback beating him each time, and then coming back now to do the pay-per-view match, he beats them both. They spent a lot of time with him on the mat, though. I think it's a good build for them in general, because no one's been able to do that yet. Granted, it's been mostly jobbers, right. But they've got that push going for them while they still keep Ryberg strong.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Before we go to the other matches, I do want to talk about the tag match. Primo and Epico looked fantastic against the Primetime Players, and I really was kind of upset about that because I liked the AW Primetime Players angle, but really, Primo and Epico did a fantastic job.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I think with, again, what happened on Raw on Monday last night, I mean, I'm looking for amazing things from these guys. If they got to break them up or whatever, I mean, these guys are just pure quality and they deserve it.
I just want to know why AW had to take off his shoes, or was that on Raw?
No, that was on the pay-per-view. That wasn't on Raw.
Was on the pay-per-view. Okay.
But I liked on Raw how they had him mic'd up. I thought that was cool.
Okay. A lot of people didn't like that. I did.
See, yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I liked it because it was an interesting angle and it got the crowd going. You could tell they just wanted him to shut up and they hated him so much for it. I liked it. I liked that whole swarmy manager angle. It's working for him.
And most people complain at live events that like they lose something because they don't hear any type of announcing. Okay, well at least you get to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of builds its way in, because these two, the tag division's not really hot, no one really cares. So it's kind of a way to, to get the audience involved, boo the living shit out of him or whatever, just to get the crowd involved.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Lee. And Chad saying the Contenders match only proved what I thought initially, that the Primetime Players are mid-carders at best and don't deserve a title run. And I'm the only one who likes the Primetime Players featuring Abraham Washington. No, I like them too, although I don't know. They're just not – they have so much potential there. There's a lot of cool things going on, but they're just not rising to the occasion, at least in my
Millions of dollars.
Versus Bryan. Here's the thing. This was pretty much in everyone's match of the year list. I mean, you had all the trappings to put this thing together. Punk, Bryan, AJ, everything just looked great. However, it did leave some disappointed. On Twitter, Alec Pierce said it felt subpar and very watered down for a WWE match. In what could quite possibly be the biggest argument of this show.
Who wants to start?
Go for it.
You think it was kind of lackluster?
No, it wasn't lackluster at all. It was just stupid. It was like the whole point of the match was essentially storytelling, is what it was. I agree that when AJ came back out, you expected her to do something instantly, and it did take a bit of time to get to the finish. But at the end of the day, this is what we wanted. These are two of the greatest people in the world. They don't need the gimmicks or anything. But when they do have the gimmicks, they make use of the table. They made use of the chairs. They made use of the moves. They reacted to the crowd. You cannot say it was a bad, a bad match. Even the ending, people say no. Well, that was it. It wasn't it. It was the right call. I don't know how anyone can say that was lackluster.
When you build something up to the point that this was, particularly on the internet, the douchebag internet community is going to say it was lackluster. I'm with you. I think it. I mean, was it match? Was it top 10 matches I've ever seen? Fuck no. But come on, I've watched 10,000 wrestling matches in my life. it was still a really good match. You have to put it in context. It was built up so much that they just thought it was going to be the second coming, the cum shot where they jacked off in their basement or some bullshit. I don't know. No, it was a really good match. It deserves credit, which is the greatest.
Yeah, Kev, yeah, that's the thing. I think Lee basically hit it for me, which was at the end of the night. The more I thought about this match, the more I realized I really kind of liked it, except it was the end. I mean, like, the chat's lighting up on this. They're saying, awesome match. Finish was kind of anticlimactic. AJ screwed it up. The finish sucked. We want tables. Punk gave them tables. It was great. Really like Punk versus Bryan too, but the finish, a bit rushed. Punk versus Bryan thing ended the way it had to. Punk for the future of the WWE, and Bryan isn't quite ready for another major title run. Everybody loved the match itself, except for the ending. I mean,
the ending was a great twist, like with AJ coming back down, and then both guys separate. She's throwing shit in the middle and just watching them fight for it. That was awesome.
It was.
I mean, I get people like, well, the ending seemed kind of rushed a little bit. I get it, with the table thing, but still, it was still solid.
That's the thing, Joe. I got to be honest though. If you want to talk about an argument with this match, anybody can easily defend this entire match. It's just when I get to the end, I kind of got to go, all right, you got to stick with me on here, because this was pretty good, but it's just, I don't know. It lacked that extra X factor. I don't know how to describe it. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the match was great. It was a solid match all the way through. The ending I thought was pretty good. I'm with Lee on this. I mean, the match told a story. It did everything it needed to do. I don't see any way that you can look at a match like this and call it lackluster. I mean, even with the slump the WWE has been in lately, they really delivered on this match.
Yeah, fair enough. Chad's saying I love when AJ threw the chair in the middle for them to fight over. That was an awesome moment, and I preferred their first pay-per-view match. That's like, kind of like how you always fondly remember your first kiss, but you got to be honest, it kind of sucked in comparison. I think we're going to look back at that match. I think these guys still have better matches. My first kiss. Anyway, I think they have better matches, waiting for them in the future.
Well played, Garvin.
Oh my God.
We're going to think it's awesome. Anyway, WWE Championship. Bank. It was, honest to God, this was the one that everybody, I mean, even now, it was just nothing but just stuff about Cena. Lo and behold, he's got the briefcase. I've seen some people's fails this week came from the Money in the Bank match when John Cena won the WWE title briefcase. So basically, we asked our friends on Facebook, surely another Cena title run isn't the worst thing in the world, right? I mean, Cena versus Punk feud last year was awesome, wasn't it? And I mean, you have starving kids in Botswana, so that's pretty bad. So here's some of the responses. I'm so glad nobody laughed at that. Here's some of the responses. I just want to go through them, and then we'll discuss it. Scott said, it's more the concept of underdog Cena needing to use the Money in the Bank to get a title push he couldn't have gotten on his own. Jonathan said, why does he, of all people, need the briefcase for a title shot that he's been getting nonchalantly for years? Kyle said, actually, there's almost no chance that the Cena-Punk feud isn't better than last year's. Punk's a tweener, and he's at his best when he's a commented face to work off, like Cena or not. He's a big face, as we've seen in the last 20 years. Nicholas is saying the problem is he's getting the title shot because it had to happen eventually. The fact is it's the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's just kind of like a convenient thing to get on the belt. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, do you think it's become the Money in the Bank? It used to be a big deal, but as far as our fans are saying, it's either the worst thing that ever happened in wrestling or it's the Money in the Bank briefcase is a great way for Cena to get into a match with CM Punk.
It's not the worst thing that ever happened in wrestling, but this is still stupid. Money in the Bank was meant to boost guys, to give them something that they didn't have. Cena has no reason to have the briefcase. None! There is zero reason. The only reason you give it to him is to possibly have him be the only guy that loses to break the streak. That's still not even a good enough reason, in my opinion. The way they've done this for so long is the way they should have continued to do it. I'm not even saying that you had to give it to an up-and-comer. You already did in Ziggler. But don't give it to Cena! Don't give it to the establishment. Don't give it to Obama. Don't give it to the Yankees. That's what you did. You gave it to the guy who's gotten it so many freaking times. No, with everybody else, it's bullshit. It's a terrible decision. It should not have happened, and there's no reason for him to have it. None.
I can only hope there are fans of this show that started listening after Kevin went on his hiatus and are just like, oh, this guy Kevin's back. This should be great. And they're just getting a main shot at him directly into their eyeballs. And it's like...
They're like, what the hell is with crazy coke-snorting whore? Like, that's their thoughts right now.
That's Lee's thought right now.
That's okay. For anybody who doesn't listen, I drank a lot. That's really all that it really is. So.
It's true, though. That's the sad part.
Alcoholism ratings to us. Chad saying most predictable match, the Money in the Bank match, WWE history. This is also a really good point. Who else would have won? Kane? Nope. Show? Nope. Y2J? Maybe. It was painfully obvious. It was painfully obvious that it would be Cena wins. LOL. Cena's WWE is pandering to the kids, and it's horrible. But here's here's another. They clearly want Cena to headline SummerSlam. Would you guys have preferred someone who won the briefcase only to be ignored for the next 2 months? That's actually kind of a decent point.
I know they want Cena to main event SummerSlam, but I don't want Cena to main event SummerSlam. I'd rather have fucking Tyson Kidd main event SummerSlam.
I'm really sorry. I've just got back. Who is for Cena? Who's against Cena?
We just jumped into it.
Yeah, we just jumped into it. Oh, and also saying amen to Kevin's rant. Yes, Kevin with rants. Okay, so here it is. Chad saying, so Kevin, if Cena didn't win, who should have? Here we are, everybody. You booked the match. Who would you rather have besides Cena? Kevin? Okay. Joe?
Jericho.
Well, yeah. Lee?
Yep.
Skype, I hate you so much. Rob?
I had to piss. You may answer the question. I'm sorry.
That's what the chat's for. Okay, Rob, go on.
I would say either Jericho or maybe Kane.
Okay. Kevin, if Cena doesn't win, who does?
Jericho, absolutely. He needed something. You guys talked about it last week, and I really wanted to chime in. He's floundering. This is what they've done with him so far is absurd for a guy of his talent, his charisma, his just what he's done for the company in general.
But at the same point in time, considering your rant, Kevin, Jericho is in the same boat that Cena is. Jericho has had title shots upon title shots.
At this point right now, no.
I don't know. I mean, I look at Jericho and I just think I don't know. I'm kind of on a roller coaster with him now. 1 week he's amazing, another week he's like, God, just retire. I don't know. Chad saying basically what Rob's saying, that Jericho had multiple title shots and he's time away before he goes for the title again. For me, I'm looking at this John Cena thing and I'm just kind of ambivalent about it. I mean, look, I hated the AJ storyline when it first came out. I thought WWE couldn't do anything with it. And it's really grown into something I could be really proud of as a wrestling fan. I look at this John Cena thing with Money in the Bank, and I want to hate it, but I'm like, I don't know. I think WWE has kind of earned the benefit of the doubt, at least a little bit, when it comes to this. And that's where I'm at on it.
I think John Cena has this was all just a push to cash in the title shot and basically set up a Raw 1000, which is pretty much all the Money in the Bank was used for.
Yeah.
And of course to add to Cena's CV that he will be, in my mind, the first man to lose to cash in and lose.
He's the only one who really could survive it. At least I think so.
Yeah.
If John Cena cashes in Money in the Bank and wins, it's not Cena who loses; it's all the fans.
Yes, and you make a great point, Lee. That maybe that's why they're doing it, and you make a really good point. If that's the case, I'm with Joe. That's really unfortunate, and the fans are the ones that get screwed.
Yeah.
Well, look, but look at it this way. It's got to happen. And yeah, it's like pulling off a Band-Aid. It's going to suck. We're going to hate it. But Money in the Bank, there has to be that first loss, and the only one who could really survive it is John Cena. So he goes out there, he takes that bullet for all of us, and then years from now, we have finally you have the Money in the Bank title match. Maybe you win, maybe you don't.
I'm more or less getting at the doing it for the Raw 1000 episode point.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be about that. It's supposed to be greater than that. But Lee makes a great point. He's exactly right, and so we'll have to wait and see. But if that's the reason they did this, I think that's really, really terrible.
But if we're talking about taking one for the team and everything like that, I have to interject something here. I'm not saying that I'm a fan of Cena at any rate, even. Well, actually, I am. So, people go on about Jericho and the hard times that he's been on, about how WWE hasn't been booking him correctly and has just been pissing all over him. The same thing's been happening to Cena. I've never seen another wrestler where the company that he works for has actually printed and merchandise against that wrestler, like they did with the anti-Cena shirts. They had Cena take one for the team at WrestleMania when he lost to The Rock. With John Cena, it seems to be one of the few times that the WWE has listened to the fans, and they've kept him out of the title picture, and they've kept him out of the title picture, and they continue to keep him out of the title picture. So if you're going to say that Jericho should have won Money in the Bank just because he hasn't had a title shot and his return has been crappy, then you got to give Cena the same credit, I think.
So here it is, the question that we all have to answer. Money in the Bank, was it the WWE pay-per-view of the year so far? Chat's saying it was solid, but not the best. They're saying, nope. My favorite pay-per-view of the WWE was Extreme Rules 2012, and then WrestleMania 28, then Over the Limit. What do you guys think? I mean, would you rate this up there, at least top three?
Be top three, but it wouldn't be top. There was too much filler to me. These things that WWE are doing, with the whole let's just add matches, randomly and not announce them, is really starting to piss me off. Because between the WWE title match and the Raw Money in the Bank, we had Ryback and the Divas. It didn't kill the crowd, but it just didn't. There was too much not that they didn't announce, and that wasn't really relevant. It wasn't the pay-per-view of the year for me. No way.
Okay. Rob, what do you think? Pay-per-view of the year?
No, definitely not. You could make arguments for Royal Rumble or Extreme Rules, but I would maybe put Money in the Bank as third so far, but definitely not pay-per-view of the year so far.
Okay. Joe.
I'm not even going to rank it in there. I don't think it hasn't been the worst, but it hasn't been the best. It's somewhere in the middle.
Okay, Kevin, real quick.
I'm exactly with Joe. Somewhere in the middle. Yeah. I'm exactly with Joe. He's exactly right.
And the winner of the Productions, who predicted every match, frankly, that you guys, whatever. He's in first. He's out of the gutter, and now he has a point. He feels. I'm still in the lead.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, whatever. I'm so happy the British finally won something. Kudos to you.
I know, it's not like we discovered your land or anything,
Technically, you didn't. The Vikings did.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But technically, Cena is supposed to be the best wrestler in WWE. These technicalities, they're all shit.
I'm sorry, Raw. Lee, take us with Raw.
Yes, I apologise in advance for the connection. Raw started out with CM Punk coming out, WWE title around his waist from last night. He basically went on saying he liked LA. It was a year ago since he dropped the pipe bomb, etc., etc. He pretty much played with the crowd. Then Big Show came out. Big Show actually had a fairly decent segment and said, it could be John Cena could cash in against him. It was announced that Punk versus Show was the main event, and it was really good actually. A good opening considering it was the Big Show. I didn't get bored by his lines. he really, really pushed the idea of Cena will cash in tonight, and it was a great little hook to keep the audience going. After that, we had R-Truth and Kofi defeat the primetime players. Decent match. Truth and Kofi, I thought, looked better than primetime players did. Energetic, to say the least. We had the backstage segment, I think it was backstage with Eve, Bryan, and AJ, where Eve announced that it would be Bryan and AJ versus Eve and the mystery character as such. Again, nice little tease for the hour mark. Then we had Del Rio come out and do the natural let's beat someone guy, and that guy was Zack Ryder. But we then did see the return of 619 himself, Rey Mysterio, which got a massive pop.
What's really funny on that one, Lee, is when his music hit, the first thing I thought, I thought Sin Cara, and I'm like,
yeah.
and I never thought Rey Mysterio. And then my fiance walks out and goes, "Oh, Rey Mysterio." I'm like, "What? Oh, same thing."
It was quite strange in the fact that it was, no one, we all knew he was coming back tomorrow for a dark match, but no one really expected him. So I didn't really know how to react. I was happy, but it was weird. And I suppose the other thing is it's Del Rio versus Mysterio again. That's what it left off at, and now they're picking it up again. It's like, I've seen too many matches for them to.
But at least they're continuing the storyline after a span over 2 months. Because WWE forgets anything that happened 2 months ago.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
Rikishi.
Anyway, and then... Say again.
Go ahead.
Rikishi.
Yeah, Rikishi. This was the moment of the night for me. Rikishi came back and defeated Heath Slater, and at the end... Well, let's just talk about this. We had an Umaga tribute in there.
Yeah.
Who else? That was really, really cool. Who else did it? There was another guy that he did a tribute to.
Yokozuna.
Yeah. Yokozuna. Thank you very much. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, and then the little moment with the Usos at the end, pretty much a priceless. That was really, really good. And then we were on to the semi-main event. It was Bryan and AJ versus Even the Miz. Pretty much it was quite short actually for a semi-main event. Miz obviously revealed to be the mystery partner. He looks good. He looks like he's going to come back and really cause some chaos as a heel, to be honest with you.
There's a rumor saying that he's going to be in the main event for the next few months, involved in the general event.
Well, he should be as well, because I think he's really going to step up his game, and he sounds serious.
He's been slated to do, isn't he doing the latest What's the Face movie?
He already did it.
He did it. He's finished.
It's done? Oh, okay. All right. I thought he was still filming it. Okay.
No, he's just finished filming it as such. I don't know when it comes out though.
He made a statement at the pay-per-view that he had just done. He's like, I just finished a movie. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to be like those guys.
Yeah.
And then continued on. Anyway.
WWE will do that. Anyway, this was another brilliant moment. There will be a wedding at Raw 1000. How good is that going to be?
You Brits and your celebrity weddings.
Shut the fuck up for a minute.
I'm waiting for Jake the Snake's going to come out and have a cobra bite him, right?
Thank you. It's like, I mean, and you know what? I bet this is what's going to happen. If it wasn't going to happen next week, what I totally predicted, what I totally thought was going to happen is weeks going to go by, this thing's going to get stale, and then Hornswoggle's going to come out and be the one to officiate it, and that's going to be the la. Oh.
Harrison, at least you'll get to see what it'll.
God, no.
You've just ruined the segment for me. Just ruined it. But this could be the best thing that's happening on Raw 1000. I know I'm joking. But it could be the best thing that's happened. And you go and say fucking Hornswoggle gets involved. There's no need, is there? Got a British dream here. Not the American dream.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen next week. But I'm just saying, if they didn't announce that it was going to happen next week, if they're going to be like, "We're getting married," I'm like, this thing's going to fizzle, and then Hornswoggle's going to be involved. It's going to be like every other storyline they've had with that. The question I have for you, Lee,
Hornswoggle will be their baby.
Yeah, it'll be something lame like that.
Don't give them ideas.
The question I have for you, Lee, and this is, I wanted to talk to you about this on Twitter actually, but we were too busy sniping about England versus US. Jack Swagger went up against Ryback, and he looked good. I mean, the chat's saying that. Chat's saying, I was mad. It was Ryder that got jobbed out, but I was popping when Swagger gut-wrenched Ryback. It wasn't a real match. The bell never rang, but Swagger looked good. And I'm thinking, maybe this is when we see Ryback turn the corner, no longer take on jobbers, and go after Jack Swagger.
It looks like they can actually build a feud between them. Swagger, the thing is, though, Swagger always, he will look good. Just give him time. When is the last time we saw Swagger have time?
But then
Back when he had a title.
Yeah.
Yeah. ages ago. You know, he's a good wrestler. You know, people take the mick out of him for his dickhead haircut. You know, and a bit of a mouth thing he has. List, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. You know, but he's actually deep down a good wrestler. Deep down is a good wrestler. Just give him time.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that the person that they then throw up against Ryback was Jack Swagger. I just think that's interesting. And it doesn't look like it would really work on paper, but it was great stuff. Brodus Clay, Dolph versus Jericho.
Something else.
All right. You go to jump to Dolph Jericho. When Dolph's laid out, Vicky doesn't look like she's really siding with Dolph. She looks like she's jumping on the Jericho bandwagon. I like it.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think this could be really the potential of something not special, but very good.
You're not going to see #heel after a while if this is what's going to keep going, though.
No, I'll tell you what. If he makes himself into his own character, Dolph, I don't care. It'll be brilliant.
I agree.
This was one of those moments where you look at it and you really see how much Dolph has grown, because finally he got to stand on his own 2 feet up against Jericho, and it's like, wow. I mean, he's really grown from what we've seen even a year ago. Anybody think that they're going to be dolphin toys in WWE shops? Little dolphins with a stupid haircut?
Dolphins.
I mean, given his current character on WWE Download, the very cocky, swarmy, I'm going to sleep with all these women thing, could be a different kind of dolphin.
Yeah.
Can't believe you threw that one out.
You don't know me very well, do you, Lee?
Yeah, no. Anyway.
That's Joe at ftwpodcast.com.
So, Lee, end of the show, Punk beats Big Show versus DQ. Cena comes out and says he's going to cash the briefcase at Raw 1000, and everybody hated it that tweeted back to us.
Well, I think you can go down 2 ways here. I don't think anybody in their right mind would expect him to cash it in that night. It was a good tease, but I don't really think that he would cash it in the same night. It was way too obvious, Everybody was saying it was either next week on Raw 1000, or it was at SummerSlam. I thought they were going to do it for SummerSlam. I thought they'd save it. But they have really gone out of their way to... I don't know. I said this on Twitter. If Raw does not get a rating next week, and a bloody big one, nothing will. They have thrown everything but the kitchen sink for next week. And Cena and Punk will obviously draw. And I actually liked it. I don't mind it just because it's Raw 1000. Hell, it's special. Just make it special.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's a pay-per-view quality match, really, that we're going to see there. But yeah, chat's saying Cena plus absolutely anything equals IWC hate. Yeah, I mean that's.
I think that's not necessarily true. There was when he won the Money in the Bank case. When Cena grabbed that suitcase, all his divorce papers were in there. That was the bad one.
God, he looked like such an idiot. That stupid face. Oh my God. Gerald from the WrestlingNewsSource.com Facebook group. I hope the WWE. Yeah, I hope the WWE. Yeah, we stalk you guys too. I hope the WWE doesn't hire a Raw GM, because tonight so far they're doing better without one. That's a pretty fair point, really. I mean, it definitely makes up. Okay, Lee, do you think that Raw makes up for the week before?
No, because it's 2 different episodes completely. No, I don't think so. I think every week should be some kind of decent quality. It was loads better this week. There's no doubt about it. I really enjoyed it, as everyone else did. With the GM point, I think the GM there's definitely going to be a GM. Absolutely, 110% there will be a GM. So it doesn't really matter. They're going to hire one. I don't know who it is, but they're going to hire one.
Garvin and I have a theory about that. We'll probably talk about it later. Time for Ask FTW. You can ask us questions by emailing us questions at ftwpodcast.com, or send us a tweet to ask at FTWpodcast using the hashtag AskFTW, and post on our Facebook wall, facebook.com/FTWpodcast. For these guys new to the show, each one of us is going to get 30 seconds to respond to you. So starting right off on the top, Judas on Facebook said, I don't understand why AW is constantly mic'd up. The shit's stupid as hell. Joe?
Judas, I will tell you this to your face this week that I think that AW being mic'd is brilliant because it's giving the fans there something else to focus on. It's generating heat for your tag team that needs some heat and needs some momentum. And what else can you do aside from miking Jerry Lawler?
Okay.
That'd be bad.
Mike Jerry Lawler? What the fuck are you smoking? Bloody.
AW or...
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on, Joe, real quick, wrap it up.
Yeah, AW or King? Which one would you rather have mic to the audience?
Well, I think that was easy. Lee, go.
Joe's just said exactly what I wanted to say. It's to draw heat, quite simply enough. It's working to an extent. Yeah, it can be annoying, but, you put up with it.
Awesome. Rob?
Yeah, I'm with Joe and Lee on this one. I mean, there are worse people they could get, like King.
Oh man, he's just become just the whipping boy for this show. All right, I am so happy I get to say this, Kevin.
What else are you going to do with the tag division? They've shit all over it so far. It's the best thing they got. I agree with everybody else.
Here's the thing, I love it. I'm with you guys on that, but I really wish he would start maybe engaging the audience a little bit. Start heckling people, calling people out, maybe making fun of the way people are dressed in the front row, something like that. I think if he started to do that, because he's much with the crowd, why not interact with the crowd? I think he's got potential there.
Very quickly, Harrison, just regarding King last night, the best part about King was when he went, you can go to www.wwe.wwe/wwe/wwe, and I assure you, he said that.
Funny, it's like, God, you are old as dirt. I was expecting him to go HTTP.
Dub.
/ dub. The YouTubes and look for us. And the Tim from Facebook said Mysterio versus Del Rio, Jericho versus Ziggler, Triple H versus Lesnar, Bryan versus Miz. 4 potential SummerSlam matches add on to 2 title matches. That's a good card. If you ask me, I'll be there. What do you guys think? I mean, do you agree with them? 4 potential SummerSlam matches? I mean, do you think that's fair as far as what he's got there, or do you think this card is not as good as we really hope it's going to be? Joe?
The one that I think it's going to be. Those are going to be some good matches. I just don't get Bryan Miz per se yet.
Okay, excellent point. Lee?
I'm with Joe. Everyone, Mysterio Del Rio, that's clearly going to happen. Jericho Ziggler, clearly going to happen. Triple H versus Lesnar. If it doesn't happen, I'll shoot my eye off. Bryan versus Miz, I don't know where he's going with that, but it could work. Whoever interrupts their wedding next week will face Bryan at SummerSlam.
Awesome. Rob?
Yeah, it looks like it's a good card on paper. Like Lee said, I don't know where Bryan versus Miz is coming from, but that could be an interesting matchup to see.
Okay. Kevin?
I'm on board. Yeah, as soon as everybody else. Bryan versus Miz doesn't make a lot of sense from storyline perspectives right now, but at the same time, would it be a good match? Fuck yeah. So... it's a good idea. Will the WWE do it? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, Bryan Miz is kind of out of left field, but I mean, when I first read this when we were doing pre-show, I thought, it's crap. But the more I think about it, that would kind of be a good match because it would be interesting to see. We haven't seen Miz in a really good match, at least in any kind of spotlight capacity in a while. So it'd be a good. I mean, I think it'd be a good kind of litmus test to see where he's at. I mean, could he still come back and, kick ass? Who knows? Anyway, Will from the live chat, real quick. First thing that comes in your head, just throwing this out there. When I say Kofi versus Dolph for the World Heavyweight Championship, what does everyone think immediately? Joe?
Next gen.
Lee?
Not a chance.
Rob?
Fuck no.
Kevin?
New era.
Please, yes.
It won't happen.
Oh, but I want it so bad. It would just be epic. You're right.
It would be good.
It would be.
It just won't happen.
It'd be a great match,
push,
but the WWE's not going to book it.
It's a push that Kofi should have had back when Randy Orton had the title, when Randy was a heel.
Yes, spot on.
There we go. Joe caps it off for us. Chris emailed us, hey guys, really appreciate y'all answering my ECW Hall of Fame question a few weeks ago. I have two more. Real quick. When do you think the WWE will turn Bryan Danielson time-wise after his feud with Phil Brooks? And do you think that they'll let him use the final countdown? And with him having a Money in the Bank, a four-way only champions, and an eight-man match, do you think they should do that every year? Like have one match being only champs match and the other match being a non-champs match? I mean, do you think breaking it up that way kind of works? Joe?
I don't know when they're going to turn Bryan Danielson time-wise. I think they're inching him toward a face again with this AJ wedding thing because he really seems to be turning, like realizing his mistakes. Will they let him use Final Countdown? Probably not. His music's too badass. And Fatal 4-Way or doing the 4-Way and the 8-man? No, I think it's a gimmick only for this year.
Okay, Lee.
Yeah, I'd say the similar thing. I also don't think Bryan needs turning. He really doesn't. He's over with the fans. He's over with us. He's over with the casual fan. People love him or hate him. He's done his job. With the Money in the Bank, 4-way only, and the 8-man, if they keep that 4-way only champions concept and do exactly the same match next year, I will not be watching that pay-per-view just because it wasn't crap, but it wasn't that appealing. 8-man is a lot better. Really a lot better.
Rob.
Yeah, I'm with Lee on this one. I think it was just a gimmick for this year. I don't think the WWE will do it next year, nor really should they. As far as turning Bryan Danielson, changing his alignment and whatnot, my question is why? He seems to be doing fine where he's at right now. I don't see the WWE really tweaking that too much.
Okay, Kevin.
Rob's exactly right. Why would you turn Bryan Danielson at this point? There's no reason. It doesn't make any sense. And would it be nice to see that match? Yeah, sure, but I don't think it happens. Now that that's over, Joe, shut your damn face from 2 weeks ago when he emailed in. ECW is timeless. It should never be buried. You are an idiot. Shut up with your ECW burial bullshit.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hold that for 2 weeks. Love you, Kev. I don't think they're going to turn.
This is why you're not often on the show anymore, Kevin.
That's right. That's exactly why.
I'm with you guys. I don't think they're going to turn just yet. The reason I don't want to see a four-way championship match and an eight-man match is because the four-way championship match would be for the WWE title, and the eight-man match would be the World Heavyweight Championship. And that basically is WWE saying, yeah, that's the varsity and junior varsity squad, basically. And I don't really like that because even though that kind of is the way it goes, I like the idea that both titles are relatively equal in at least the amount of time and push that they get. But if they do this, then it becomes very clear that the World Heavyweight Championship is the also ran. We don't want you in the main event, but we're going to put you on here so you can wrestle on SmackDown. Nick on Facebook said, how do you guys think that Aries will hold the title? I'm sorry, how long do you think Aries will hold the title? Do you think he's going to hold it through Bound for Glory, or do you think that Rude's going to take it back, only to lose it at Bound for Glory for Storm? Joe.
I think Aries is going to keep it. Storm and what the fuck's his face? Rude are not going to. They don't need it. They don't need the title.
Forgetting your name, you're channeling your inner me. Lee, what do you think?
I'm with Joe thinking about it. I originally thought that they would just put Rude straight through to Bound for Glory, but the more you think about it, the backstory with Storm and Rude can just take its own pace. It's a big enough story. They can do it without the title, and then Aries gets a main event spot with whoever, and they can work that up there. So yeah, it's actually a really good move.
Okay, Rob.
I think Aries is going to hold the title at least to Bound for Glory. Probably he might even walk out of Bound for Glory with it. And Rude versus Storm without a title involved, there are so many different things you can do to really add to that storyline, add to that feud. It should be epic.
Okay. Kevin.
A lot they can do. They can really add to it. Storm and Rude, I'm in.
Okay. Chat's saying, agree with Joe, Storm and Rude don't need the belt. I know Chat's also saying, I know that Rude doesn't need the belt, but he wants him to have the belt. Did also say that Kevin was right about the Hall of Fame thing. I wanted to put that out there. I think the fact that we are all in agreement that Rude and Storm don't need the belt is a really great turning point for TNA, showing that their creative development is starting to get there, because that is a main event storyline that doesn't need the belt. And that's something you only really see in very mature wrestling companies. You don't really see like Ring of Honor or any of the indies are able to pull that off. So the fact that they're able to do a storyline like that's clearly main event, that we're all excited to see months in advance when it's just rumor and there's no strap attached to it, That's pretty awesome, especially with two homegrown talents like that. This one is just real quick on this one. I'm almost certain that this is also from Nick on Facebook. I'm also certain that we'll see an appearance by AJ's wife, and that she'll be disappointed, disgusted with him, and basically turn. Could you see that happen? Could you see AJ Styles make a heel turn for this to do something really heinous to take out Daniels and Kaz, or basically do something so heinous that Daniels and Kaz have to stop him? Do you guys see that happening, Joe?
Do I see it happening? Yeah. Do I think it's going to be one of the dumbest things in wrestling history? Yes. I don't need to see his wife come out and have all this stupid drama. This is a stupid angle. This is like, hey, remember that Katie Vick storyline that flopped for WWE? Let's do something just as equally as stupid.
There was no
Whoa, man, that's low.
Yeah. Wow, you bolted that one out. All right. Lee.
It's a stupid storyline. Fuck you.
Okay. No. You're bringing out the Katie Vick thing.
My name's not Lee.
It isn't?
Well, it isn't now.
Come on, Liam.
Yeah, there's just three words. It's just Jerry. That's what it's all. It's got written all over it.
All right, Rob.
I'm completely with Lee on this one. I think you have to start. I think to really salvage anything going with this storyline, you have to leave the non-wrestlers out of this. You have to let AJ settle things with Kaz and Daniels. I don't see an alignment change coming because that would be stupid for them to do to AJ Styles right about now.
Yeah, and really, to see
scrap the storyline and make it go away.
Do you think he's going to go from lawful good to chaotic evil?
He could, lawful good, chaotic evil. That's always a good, fun alignment shift.
He'll lose some levels, though.
Yay! Kevin, what do you think?
It'll be good. I don't know. Dude, I don't really have a whole lot on this, man. I don't think it's worthwhile.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I'm kind of with Kevin on that one. I've gotten to the point where I'm almost ready to give up on the storyline because at first it was kind of intriguing, and then like Lee and I were talking about, they just kind of shot their wad, and then went to the pay-per-view, and it was like, what the hell? So it's just, I don't know. I'm just looking at this like it's a really, whoever's writing this clearly isn't writing any of TNA's other stuff. So I hope they just I hope this is just that guy's pet project to keep him occupied. Kyle on Facebook had a really great point about basically, it's really long. I'm just going to summarize it. CM Punk is awesome. John Cena is really good at what he does. CM Punk's really good at what he does. And that is CM Punk's a really good anti-hero. And John Cena is the ultimate hero. Basically, to take CM Punk to the next level, we saw what he did against other heels. He needs to go up against a hero. And John Cena is the ultimate hero. So basically having John Cena have the belt isn't the worst thing in the world because it gives CM Punk excellent material to work off of in segments and matches and stuff like that. So he's actually looking at Cena having the belt as a good thing because it means Punk is going to be even better than he already has been, and maybe we'll get the Summer of Punk again. What do you think about that, Joe?
I don't know. I don't think we're going to get the Summer of Punk again. That was a time. That was a one shot thing. You can't just recreate shit. That's like bringing DX back again. Wait. I fucking hate that idea. Yeah, I don't know. Forget it. I'm out of time.
Okay, Lee.
Weird. It works, but it doesn't work because WWE want to mainstream him, essentially, give him the good guy merchant, it's merch sales at the end of the day, isn't it, really? Making him look good and getting kids into him as such. I would love that scenario to happen. It would probably be one of the best ideas going, but it won't happen.
Okay, Rob?
I agree with that statement. I mean, when you look at CM Punk's character, he is an anti-hero. An anti-hero, it works because you can pair them up with villains, you can pair them up with heroes, and as we've talked about so many times, John Cena is the big hero, the big company man. He and CM Punk could have a great storyline.
Okay. Kevin, do Do you think
Yeah, in
that's fair?
theory, this is a great idea. In practical application, it's not going to happen. Yes, I would love to see it. I think it's a great idea. And your point is very well taken. But you have to look at it from a business perspective of the WWE. It's not going to happen. I hate to burst the bubble, and I hate to be like a realist, but it's the way the world is. Not going to work.
Yeah, when I first
Damn
read this,
you, Kevin, for killing my dream.
I know. I am a
Yeah.
dream killer.
yeah,
I come back and I ruin everyone's dreams.
You do.
yeah, it really does. This entirely does make a lot of sense. I mean, Rob, what you got there, like Kevin said, really good point. Except when you realize that the WWE is a T-shirt sales company, and then you realize, that's kind of a problem. I don't know. What Kyle has here is a pretty good point. I mean, CM Punk really did rail against Cena really well last year, and it is that kind of dichotomy where Punk is kind of like the, you know what, F you. I'm going to be a good guy or a bad guy. I don't care. I'm just going to do my own thing. And there's a kind of honesty there that we can really like. I think Cena will do a really good job of engaging the kids and CM Punk with the IWC. Gary on Facebook asked, do we think that WWE or TNA will do another film-related match like WWE did in 1989 between Hulk Hogan and Zeus, and how WCW did in 2000 with the Let's Get Ready to Rumble 3-stage cage match, which was made for the film Ready to Rumble? Do you see that ever happening again, Joe?
No. If we're going to see that, we would actually seen Kane stab somebody with that fucking hook that he was carrying around for a while. There's not going to be any movie tie-in other than that, because then you're going to have to see like fucking Ted DiBiase be like the Marine 3 or whatever. No, it's not going to happen. They are drawing a definite line between movie fantasy and wrestling fantasy.
Okay, Lee?
Yeah, essentially, what's the difference between the film version and the WWE now? There'd be no difference, pretty much. And even if we did get more WWE films, it'll be Kane hanging out with his free foot, a certain male variety part on their body. If anyone read that rumor. Did no one read that? Okay.
I know. Yeah, go ahead and explain. But
it just wasn't funny. Okay.
No, I knew what you were talking about. I just was going to see if anybody else picked up. Go.
Okay,
explain.
very quickly. WWE. Eventually, Vince apparently came in one idea with See No Evil, Kane's film, and said that he wanted a 3-foot dick hanging off him when he was revealed.
Yeah, that actually was said in a writer's interview.
Yeah.
On I Want Wrestling.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
I believe. Yeah.
You gotta love it. Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to agree with Lee. What would be the difference between a wrestling-based movie and what we see on WWE every week when we turn on Raw and SmackDown? I mean, the WWE has evolved to the point where there's really no distinction. So no, I don't think we're seeing anything like it again.
Okay. And Kevin.
Kevin?
We'll get to Kevin in a minute. I hate the movie Ready to Rumble. I hate it so much. I'd never want to see anything like that again. I don't care.
Coming from the guy who watched China porn.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I hate that movie so much. It is so pandering and so derivative, and it's just a terrible movie. It's not even like, and I hate even more that Hogan versus Zeus shit. I hate that I'm going to pay you $10 so you can advertise with me. No. I mean, there's no purity. There's no heart. There's no art with that. It's crap. I hated that movie so much.
Yeah. I'll throw it now since I was muted earlier. Thanks, Joe. You did the same damn thing last week. Harrison, you're exactly right. They did it once. Why the fuck do it again? It was a disaster the first time. I mean, it was two trains colliding, Faces of Death style, bang. Yeah, everything exploded. Horrible. No reason to do it again. Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for backing me up. All right, so with Raw going to 3 hours, many IWC suggested that the WWE take their pay-per-views to 4 hours to compensate. Is that really a good idea? We asked on Twitter, and here are some of the responses. Scott Viper on Twitter said, I think it'll be a matter of quality more than quantity. As long as they make quality pay-per-views, extra hours wouldn't be necessary. Trite93 said, not longer, just better. And Rowdy Rodimus said, I'd rather see. I really wish Garvin could just read these. I'd rather see less pay-per-views so they actually matter the way they used to. When it was just a big four, they were a big deal. Basically, everybody. I mean, those are the big three, but we got other responses that all kind of echoed that, which was, we don't want quantity, we want quality, and they're even ready to have fewer pay-per-views. Do you guys agree with that sentiment, Joe?
Completely. I think 13 fucking pay-per-views in 1 year is bullshit. I understand one a month, but to add that 13th one in really pisses me off. And really start taking some away, because I don't think we need Breaking Point, Over the Limit, and I don't know, what the fuck is that one? The
Tables, ladders, and chairs, and Extreme Rules.
No, that stupid one where we're competing. They're competing, the two shows. Bragging Rights.
Yeah, Bragging Rights.
Oh, yeah.
God, yeah. Okay, Lee.
4-hour pay-per-views. Jesus Christ. No. Just no. If you lower down the number, they need to get rid of some. It's already been said, 13 was pushing it. 12, they don't need half the shit they've got now, but they do it. It's just money-making, If they went 4 hour, I would just roll up in a ball and just hope for the best. No.
Okay. Kevin.
The amount of pay-per-views I do think is too long, but I don't want them to go to 4 hours, but at the same time, it gives them a chance to push other talent, maybe give the Divas more than 2 minutes in a pay-per-view. If they do go that long, I'm just trying to look at some advantages as to the reasons why they could. They could push younger talent. You have advantages to possibly push Divas. There are some that can wrestle. They treat it like it's a joke. We've seen matches that are good.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, as well, possibly the tag division. There's things that they could do if they went to 4 hours. I don't want to see it, but if they do, I want to see them do it right. If this is the way that they're going, there's things they can do. There's things that they can work with. Make it happen.
Rob.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of quality. I think also that now that we're starting to see the brand competition start to dissolve, I think we will see an end to the pay-per-view for like bragging rights, so that should bring us down to about 12. You could probably trim a few more pay-per-views off of that. I think the general sentiment is right, though. It's quality pay-per-views, not the number of pay-per-views you have.
I'm fine with 12 pay-per-views. I mean, it makes a very nice cycle to the storylines and everything. I'm kind of with. I'm really with Joe. I mean, there are a lot of really gimmick pay-per-views they could lose. I mean, Over the Limit. What the hell does it even mean? I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. I mean, at that point, you're just making an excuse for me to tip for my $60, and no. Okay, here we are, folks. Raw 1000. It's the 500-pound elephant in the room. We got to talk about it. Next Raw, according to Phenom Universe, is going to be the biggest Raw. It's going to be the biggest event in history. Bigger than WrestleMania. Okay, well, maybe not that big, but still pretty big. Everyone is saying something similar. This is going to be a huge deal. I mean, WWE's hyped it more than enough. So much of what has been announced and built up that it basically feels almost like a pay-per-view, almost like a WrestleMania Junior. So let's run through what we know and do our predictions. But first, I want to hear. We're going to kick it from what you guys have sent us. Teresa on the Mark's Facebook group said, "Do you guys think that they'll have any tributes this basically for the show, like Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, maybe the most recent ones like Strongbow and Savage? Do you think we'll have some kind of tribute to wrestlers past for this show?" Because I'm thinking, I like that idea, and I really think we're probably going to see maybe a 2-minute segment to start it. Kind of like a history of Raw, faces that have been there, that kind of thing. I mean, you guys think...
It's Teresa, you make a great point. I personally think they don't want to look back, so I don't think it'll happen. But you make a great point, and if it happens, that's a great point. That'd be good to open the show with.
It would be great to see. I don't think they're going to do it because that'll take time away from the John Cena match recaps. I think that... I think they'll actually go back and show some moments from Raw from the past, but I don't think they're going to actually do a fallen wrestler tribute.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Lee, go on.
That would be hilarious throughout the 3 hours. Just John Cena, like they do a Raw recap. This is the night John Cena came to Raw. Next Raw recap. This is the night John Cena won for the first time. Next recap. This is the night John Cena. Just throughout the night. That'd be hilarious.
And I would shut off Twitter because I don't think I could take thing from two different screens. Rob, what do you think?
No, I don't think they're going to do any kind of a tribute. I mean, the WWE's done a pretty good job of kind of doing the tribute to the wrestlers kind of as they die, something like that. I don't think they're going to waste too much time. Not waste time. I don't think they're going to use their programming time for tributes when they've already done that before.
Rob, the best comment ever just came through the chat. All I want from Raw 1000 is a new title and a theme song. I can't defend professional wrestling to my non-watch fans when the first fucking thing you hear on the show is goddamn Nickelback.
Oh, who did that? Who said that? Who said that?
I don't know. Garvin copied it for me.
Find
the Kilo G.
Find that man. Yes. Give him a medal. Let him have the creative department at TNA. Find him. Give him it. Do whatever that man wants.
Yes. New title and theme song. That is really hard with the here's Nickelback. Anyway,
yeah, but is that particular Nickelback song worse than Green Day's "Enemy" for the opening of SmackDown?
Yep.
It's a horrible song for the theme to SmackDown.
Do you know the enemy?
Well, I mean, would you rather be crushed or pulled apart when you die? I mean, that's really what we're debating here. Deuce Loosely on our Facebook page said, this being a milestone show for the 1000th Raw, I want to believe there's something huge in the works for this, like CM Punk retaining and Rock challenging him, or, and here it is, every time we have something like this, Cena turning heel. He's not even the only one. Robert also posted saying if John Cena turns heel and they bring back, I swear to you he wrote this, brings back the NWO with the help of Randy Orton when his suspension is over, which would be fantastic because this means he's not going to give me any more points. Mason Ryan and Evan Bourne. Having John Cena shoot a promo about everything that we most talked about Raw since the CM Punk shoot. Just a wild guess. I mean, Cena turning heel is one thing, but bringing back the NWO? I mean...
Cena didn't turn heel already. It's not happening.
No.
Yeah, no way. I could see Punk retaining, but I cannot see Cena turning heel. No, if we were going to have Cena turn heel, we would have already seen it. They had too many opportunities to do it previously that would work.
There's no way John Cena will turn heel. He's a t-shirt seller. They will if they turn John Cena heel in the rest of his WWE run, we will all die happy, and we are not dying happy.
Yeah, here's the thing, and Garvin brings it up in the chat, which is a really good point. I bought an NWO shirt after Hogan turned. So, I mean, there is something to be said for that. Yeah, you won't sell many more of the Never Give Up shirts, the bright green and orange or whatever. But at the same time, I got to believe that at the IWC, maybe a lot of kids maybe they might embrace Cena as the villain, selling NWO t-shirts. I mean, Hogan sold a lot.
Yeah, but the NWO has been done and done again and done yet again. It's died. It's out in the backyard, and the WWE has beaten it until there's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with that, the only problem I have with the NWO is it killed WCW, and the IWC knows it, so you're going to lose them, and the kids won't have any idea what the hell's going on. So like
the kids are going to know what's going on next week.
Well, no,
we're gonna have 10-year-olds thinking, "What the hell's DX? Who? What? Who the hell's the Rock?"
No. The 10-year-olds have seen him before because they bring him out about once a year.
No, that's the thing, Joe. Lee brought up a really good point. I picked up my nephew from day camp today, and I told him Raw, and he was really excited about next week because Cena's going to be facing CM Punk. And I said, yeah, and DX is coming back, and he really didn't know who that was. I mean, he kind of knew the name, and he knew that it had something to do with Triple H, but he didn't really know the history or the tank thing or anything like that. I mean, the only thing they really saw was that video package.
The tank thing. That was awesome.
The Jeep thing. Anyway, but he thought it was a tank. But anyway, That's a really good point. Anyway, Chet said,
No, you thought it was a tank.
I would love a sequel, but I will not get my hopes up. It's not going to happen. Every time, though, we got to talk about it. All right, so for the card, we have confirmed and we have rumors. First thing confirmed, DX reunion, Triple H and HBK only. Does anybody really believe that? Or do you think that they kind of pull a swerve and we'd hear, oh, you didn't know?
No, if they're going to do that, that would be awesome because, well, Road Dogg's been working with them on some stupid YouTube shows where they're basically doing MST3K. But if they brought back X-Pac and Billy Gunn for one night along with Road Dogg, I'd dig it only for the nostalgia factor. I have this feeling they're going to sit down, they're going to be like, fine, fuck it, DX versus Alberto Del Rio and Jesus or something. Like, so it's going to come up with some fucking tag team match to put Shawn Michaels back in the ring, and I'm pissed because I don't want to see it. Fucking retired. Don't get back in the fucking ring. Just stay home.
Okay. Anybody have a rejoinder to that, or are we all agreed?
Alberto Del Rio and Jesus. I don't know. I think I want to see Alberto Del Rio and Jesus take on Triple H and
Jesus.
HBK.
Del Rio and Jesus. That's Joe at FTWpodcast.com.
All right, so Brock Lesnar's going to respond to Triple H, and basically that's going to be one segment. DX is going to come out. Oh, we did the thing. We're on Raw, and then we're going to hear Brock Lesnar's music. And the crowd's going to pop. We're going to have the wedding, which I know Lee is super excited for.
You're damn right, I'm excited for it. Fuck off.
I feel like God up there. I mean, I know the Premier League's over, but you got the Olympics coming up.
Whoa. What the fuck is the Premier League? It's not. It's the Premier League. We made fucking football here. So shut the fuck up.
Such a
dick boy.
Then,
Tell him to go watch cars turn right, left, and center.
Other than Lee and his delicate British sensibilities, is anybody else looking forward to the Bryan AJ wedding?
I don't know. Do we get to see the honeymoon?
Really?
No, we don't. Okay, then no, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I love that. I put on Twitter that because AJ reminds me of my cousin, and Daniel Bryan looks just like Garvin. That this is what it would look like if Garvin proposed to my cousin, and just said the most heinous things in the world. And I'm not going to repeat them because I am going to see her this weekend, and I don't want to be thinking about that when I'm talking to her. So yeah,
that was Garvin who said that on Twitter.
I don't care. Both of you are just vile people. Vile people.
By the way, I'm also going to see her this weekend, so.
Fuck you. All right, so the wedding. Okay, here's the thing. New Raw GM to be named, but not SmackDown. Here's the predictions, and then I think Garvin and I should go last because we have a really good idea of who we think it's going to be. And it's probably going to be the same thing. Okay, Joe, so who do you think the new Raw GM is going to be?
I'm going to say Shane O'Mac.
Oh, man, that might actually be better than what we got. Okay, Rob?
Fuck it, I'll go with Triple H. Have him take a front office role as well as back office.
Both offices? Okay. Lee, who are you picking?
I'm going to say, as a guess, Johnny Ace. Just because I don't, because he will be back at some point, and I can just see him giving it back. I don't know why, but I can see him giving it back.
I think pretty much buried him essentially as much as I could. But all right, Kevin, who are you picking?
After last week, I don't care.
Kevin takes Mike Adamle.
Mike Adamle. Oh, we were actually talking about that when I was up, right?
It's better than whatever turd they're going to shit out after Hornswoggle. Just move on before I break something.
Garvin and I were talking about this. We think the new Raw GM is going to be us.
Actually, I was going to say Justin Bieber.
Say Justin Bieber? All right, Justin. We were talking about the fact that WWE is coming out with a new social networking hub on their website. They're going to debut at Raw 1000. They've been doing a lot. Now they got this tout thing that they're shoving down our throats. They're doing Twitter, Facebook, everything. And they've been doing a lot of polls to get our audience, to get the audience involved. I think that they're going to say the new Raw GM and ushering in real people power or whatever is going to be us, the fans. And I think that's the way they're going to go with it. And that Garvin, well, let's wait, Garvin, I think. Well, no, Garvin changed his to Justin Bieber, so that's what I'm going to write down for mine. But that's where we were discussing it earlier, and that's where we think it's going to be. Rock coming back, yay. Return of the Undertaker, yay. Won't be in a match together, I'm assuming. Do you think Rock will wrestle at on this, or do you think he's going to tease that he's going to wrestle at some other thing?
He's not. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
He's probably going to tease that he's wrestling at another event like WrestleMania, or will come out and say, "Hey, I'm still here. I still want the title. Give me my title. Damn it."
Okay.
I don't think he's wrestling on this show. He's going to be there. He might, give the rock bottom to somebody, but we won't. I'm going to go on a limb and say we're not going to see the people's elbow because that takes too much involvement.
And he's an old man. It's hard for him to do it properly nowadays.
Old?
Yeah,
He's in his
much.
what? Late 30s, right? How old is Rock?
40. I think he's 40, isn't he?
Oh,
Still
yeah,
40 yet.
yeah, he looks pretty good for his age. All right. It'd be great if it was against Matt, like that. He's Slater, and then we hear the Rock's music. Taker coming back. I mean, what do you guys think about that one? I mean, usually it's kind of early for the WrestleMania tease. Do you think that we'll see Taker later on this year outside of WrestleMania?
I could see Taker coming back to be on the show because of just to make an appearance because it's a milestone.
Right. Okay. Charlie Sheen is the new social media ambassador, everybody. You heard it here first. Sheen decided, basically, we're just kidding. That was a rumor that was going around a few minutes ago. Sheen decided to delete his Twitter account, which basically good at social media. So in his place, I don't know. One thing that we were talking, that the rumor was earlier was Ashton Kutcher, but everybody's denying that. Whether or not it happens, who knows? Possible appearances by, here's the list. Mick Foley, which is probably going to happen. Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, X-Pac, Tanaka, Roddy Piper, Stone Cold, DDP, Vader, Doink, Bob Backlund, Jim Duggan, Gene Okerlund, Dusty Rhodes. I'm sorry, not Tanaka, Tatanka back. Steve Blackman, Stephanie McMahon, Vince, Sid Vicious, maybe Shane O'Mac comes back. Any number of these people. Anybody on there that you really want that you would put you'd put good money down to make sure that they never show up on Raw again?
The one person I do want to see and have them get a lot of mic time is going to be the Iron Sheik. But the one person I don't want to see, let's go with Harley Race because he might be there. Is he still alive?
I think so.
Is he still alive? Of course he's still alive.
Yeah.
I don't remember this shit.
Fair enough. Anybody else? I mean, mine's Sid Vicious. If we can never see Sid Vicious again, that'd be a good day.
That's not a bad one either.
What state is Steve
I'd
Black?
love to see Mike Adamle.
Mike Adamle? He's not on the list. That was just
He's
a joke.
missing.
He's the GM. Joe already told you.
Okay. All right, I'll put even money on Mike Adamle not showing up because I really don't want to see that. Christian versus someone for the IC championship. Anybody who they think it's going to be? Miz, possible?
No, not Miz. For the IC title, I don't know. He's Slater.
That's no.
I didn't say it'd be a good. No, he'd be facing the Santino. I don't know.
I think Cody Rhodes is a pretty good pick. Anybody else?
Yeah, I could see Cody Rhodes.
Chat's saying
Yeah,
Tyson. Remember, he got that big push a couple weeks ago.
Tyson Kidd's not a bad idea either, but
Yeah, Tyson Kidd's a good one.
the problem
would
is
agree.
you got face for face.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ryback versus Christian from the chat. Ooh, I don't know about that one. I think we're going to see Ryback versus Heath Slater. Or not Heath Slater. Anyway, Swagger. We're going to see Ryback versus Swagger. I don't think we're going to see him versus Christian. And there it is. CM Punk versus Cena for the WWE Championship. Punk actually tweeted that he wants to see JR call this match. Do you want it to
It'll happen.
happen?
We'll get good old JR for one more match, and then at the very end of it, Stone Cold will probably come out and you can hear Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
The rattlesnake.
It's gonna be a slobberknocker. Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy. Yep, I did that too.
God. Okay, cool. It's been reported that local ads promoted Johnny Ace and Big Show versus Cena, which still might happen, but it's probably the dark match main event. We know Cena is going to be cashing in. Any chance that Dolph also cashes in?
I don't think so.
Doubt it. Yeah, very much doubt it. It's not the right time.
Okay. All right. We know that they will debut a new intro and at least a new music track. I mean, we got the one chat, saying that. I mean, as much as we want this, do you legitimately see it happening? Like new everything, new intro, new music. Lee.
Sorry, I missed you for a second.
We were joking about the fact that basically, what's more likely, new music or a live performance by Nickelback?
Nickelback won't be there. I hope new music. I am begging for new music. It is 1,000th episode. This is the time if they're going to do it, unless they have a certain contract. New music all the way.
They probably paid a lot of money for that song. All right, cool. Anybody else on that?
I agree with Lee.
Okay, cool, because I really want to read this. This is Breaking Kayfabe on Twitter. Pointed this out. And this is basically where I stand on the Raw 1000 thing. Same way I look at, I've been saying about Undertaker and the streak. I don't really care about that actual WrestleMania. It's the Raw afterwards. This is what he said. Many fans are stressing the importance of next week's Raw, basically the 1000th episode of Raw. However, I would argue that it's episodes 1001, 1002, etc., which are truly critical. We all know next week is going to be huge. However, WWE goes to the next week after that, it will basically be essential in the future growth of the company. Do you see Raw itself will change after episode 1000, and what aspects would you like to see evolve or disappear? Joe?
What I'd like to see disappear is a lot of the recap shit and a lot of the the one thing I want to see go away is when they recap something that happened on a pay-per-view where they use the audio but they use still frames. I hate that. That's retarded. Show us the fucking video. You know you have it. Just show us the small clip. If nobody's going to buy the pay-per-view after the pay-per-view's aired.
Well,
don't hedge your bet on that one, bitches.
They sell, I mean, you can buy the pay-per-view up until I believe Wednesday. But I mean, who's going to buy it then? I don't know. Lee.
Yeah, I think that the 1001, 1002 episodes are the ones that are really crucial. You'll get more of an indication of what the ratings are going to be like. You'll get an indication of where the storylines are going. You'll get an indication of where, as you said, WWE is going, what the show's going to be like, how Tout's going to be used, how Facebook's going to be used, are people going to want to join in? And they are the big questions that will be the main thing.
Yeah. Wow.
I agree with Lee. I'm also with Joe on what segments I'd like to see evolve or disappear. I'd like to see the recaps evolve. Just show us the fucking video clip. And they could get rid of the Did You Know segments where they just brawl about how awesome Raw is.
Yeah, I've gotten tired of making fun of those. Kevin. Okay,
Kevin.
buddy.
I have so many things to say, and
You got 30 seconds.
his point is exactly right, but they won't make it happen because they're not that smart. That's my overarching point.
My thing I would like to see change. They cannot, if they're going to 3 hours, recap something that happened earlier in the show. Because if you spend a lot of time doing that, I don't mind the recaps from weeks past or from the pay-per-views or whatever. But earlier in the show, it's like, then why did you go to 3 hours? If you can't fill that, you have to recap what happened earlier, there is no reason you to then go 3 hours on this crap. I mean, that's for me, that is a hard line. All right, time for news. Just going to burn through this real quick. Austin Aries signed a long-term deal with TNA. No word for how long or how much, but who, I mean, this is awesome. DirecTV and Viacom continue their dispute, which means that once again, Impact Wrestling is now seen by a large amount of subscribers, i.e., I'm one of them. And it sounds like this deal isn't even close to being made. And as far as I can read, it's not. These two companies will not even give each other the light of day. WWE will launch Raw Active next week. This is what Garb and I were talking about earlier. Designed to use Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Shazam, Tout, Instagram, YouTube, every other social media flash in the pan that we're not going to even know about 5 years from now. Some are even suggesting that the entire third hour can be dedicated to fan reaction and backstage stuff like they do with their YouTube channel currently, which is a lot of fun because that's basically what we do. Robert on Facebook said, heads up, CM Punk Best in the World DVD Blu-ray is coming out October 9th, so make sure you check that out. But now it's time for Win Fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Your wins of the week, go Joe.
My win of the week is the crowd chanting no at the idea of a Daniel Bryan AJ wedding. They were vehemently against that. It was awesome to see.
I think they're against Brian saying yes rather than anything else.
No,
that
crowd changed from yes to a vehement no as soon as he got down on one knee. That's when the no's came out.
They absolutely rejected that idea. Lee, your win of the week, go.
My win of the week has probably got to be John Cena. For the first time, as long as he didn't cash in that Money in the Bank that night. I know how predictable it might seem, but if he cashed it in, God, that would have been the worst. It would have been the worst use of the Money in the Bank ever.
Lee giving John Cena a win of the week. Thanks for being on the show, Lee. But
yeah, you should count that as a shock of the year.
All right, Rob, your win of the week.
Future endeavored.
My win of the week goes to Lee for that comment at Joe. That was.
Kevin, your win of the week, go.
My win of the week is the fans, because the last time I was on the show, the Ask FTW segment was like 5 minutes, and now it was like damn near the whole thing. So props to you guys. I don't really know what else to say. That's freaking awesome.
The guy who shows up at Cedar Point after he hasn't been there for 10 years and was like, wow, there's a lot more roller coasters.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, wow, what the hell happened?
This is sweet. My win of the week is Kevin being back. I gotta say it, dude. You gotta. I know you've been super busy and everything with International Man and Mystery thing and watching the Reds lose. So
To the Cubs.
Zing! We miss you and can't wait to have you back. I'm really fans. I gotta be honest with you. When I found out Kevin was gonna be back on the show, this is my dream team right here. This is my dream. This is the cast of characters that I absolutely wanted on this show. As soon as we got Leon, I'm like, I gotta have Kevin back on this show because it's gonna be fantastic, and nothing did not fail to deliver. Garvin, win of the week.
My win of the week is TNA engaging the fans not by giving them distractions, but by putting on a hell of a show.
Oh, Garvin, you TNA mark. Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
And just to read some of what's going on in live chat, the Dolph Jericho segment, the TNA BFG series matches, Rikishi returning, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park, lots of wins for TNA.
Yeah, we should make a special shout out for the Rikishi segment because that was one of those things where you really sat back as a fan and you were like, this was perfect. I mean, he got up there with his sons, lots of great references and stuff. It was fantastic. That was a really, really good segment. All right, flip it on its head. Fails of the week. Joe, your fail of the week, go.
My fail of the week is Cena's shocked face at winning Money in the Bank. He looked like I don't know, like he had an issue.
Okay. Lee, your fail of the week, go.
My fail of the week is probably the continuation of the word Claire. just honestly, I can't describe how shit it is. It's worse than bloody WWE at the worst of times.
They need to abort that gimmick.
Oh.
As what? No,
Joe.
just a baby reference. No, it's just get rid of, like, just stop the gimmick and just drop
There's an Usinator on the way to you.
And Rob, save us. Fail of the week.
Well, I agree with Joe partially. I wouldn't use his exact terminology, but I think they need to end the whole Claire, AJ Styles, Daniels storyline. That needs to go. I think the fans in TNA are starting to get tired of it. TNA needs to either really pull a miracle out of their hat or just drop the storyline altogether.
Okay. Kevin, your fail of the week. Go,
Sorry, Lee, but my fail is without question Cena winning Money in the Bank. No reason, stupid, doesn't make any sense. I could go on. I already did, so I'm not going to.
I don't disagree with you, but I'd rather they didn't cash it in on the next night and act, as if after all that hype and saying, Cena could cash it in, if it was so painfully obvious.
No. Okay. My Garvin, your fail of the week. Go. Sorry, buddy.
Okay. My fail of the week is it's not really a fail, but I think that they could be handling this better, and that's TNA and Spike TV not putting their stuff online sooner. You can get their videos, like full shows, a week later, but with all this Viacom stuff and them losing like half of their audience, you'd think that they would try to go around Viacom at this moment. Not permanently, but still. I think there's better ways to handle it than just trying to get your audience to call Viacom, because that's not going to do anything.
The other problem with that, Garb, you have a really good point, except there's a lot of licensing involved with something like that. I mean, when you want to release something online, a lot of times when these like companies like Viacom have stations like Spike, or when Spike has shows like that, there's language in the contracts that say you cannot release a program in its entirety for 7 days. Styles Park is one of those things. They have 30 days. It's one of those things where it's really hard to get that language in there.
Yeah, but that's stupid because I can watch it on YouTube if I really wanted to. So just throwing it out there.
Just transitioning, and it's tough.
From the live chat, Robert is pointing out that Claire was smoking a cigarette while being pregnant on TNA. I don't know if you guys saw it, but when she was driving away, or when she was in her car, she had a cigarette.
They are based in Nashville, so that's all I'll say.
Redneck joke from across the pond. Love it.
Cena winning the Money in the Bank, obviously. Everyone is pretty much saying that. And the other one is Diva Jill, still angry from last week about Hornswoggle being the anonymous GM.
And she hold on to something, doesn't she? She's still bringing up the he's bringing a we thing. That's awesome.
That's retarded.
Love how much I hate that. My fail of the week is TNA getting good. And the reason why is because, Rob, you have become unlivable. You're like, remember when the Red Sox won the World Series? All the Red Sox fans beforehand were just annoying drunks that kept going on about how much they hated the Yankees. And then they won the World Series. Everybody who knew everybody who was a Red Sox fan went, Jesus Christ. Now that's all we're going to.
That's so bad.
It's just like, Lee, it's probably just like when Manchester City won.
Sorry, who?
All those Manchester
City?
Manchester City won the...
you mean Manchester City. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Yeah, that was quite an epic finale, yeah.
Exactly. Everybody hated it because all
they had
those...
2 goals in the last minute in stoppage time, and it was so amazing.
Oh, it's just terrible now. Because usually when Rob has a cynical about the WWE or anything like that, it's just like, fine. But now that he can back that up, it's like, oh my God. It's like, Rob, I love you, buddy, but I really wish you didn't have any backup on all this stuff because I can't attack you on anything. I have no rejoiner. You're right now all the time, and it's so annoying.
Hey, don't worry. I mean, I beat a British person in an argument on wrestling. I know what I'm talking about every once in a while.
Yeah, I hope you're not counting that British person as me.
Well played, sir.
That is the end of the show. We're gonna take we ran really long on this. It was awesome, guys. Thanks for sticking around. We're gonna post our question of the week on Facebook. Touts, I can't believe we're using this now. Twitter, Go check it out there. That's it. That's the show. Thank you, Lee, from WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can check out all this stuff at that website. It's phenomenal. As you can tell, we're just a group of friends that do this in our spare time. We don't ask for money, but we would like your support. If you want to support us, you can buy a t-shirt. Go to ftwpodcast.com, so click the support tab, find links there to rate us on iTunes, rate us on Stitcher, subscribe to us on YouTube, and view and like our videos, that kind of stuff. Tell your friends on Facebook, it's fantastic. Spread the word and help us get through the week that was professional wrestling, especially with your guys' input and stuff, because it just makes the show so much better. I mean, you heard Kevin. I mean, the show has evolved so much because of you guys. Thank you, everyone in the live chat. You're the hive mind. You make this show awesome, as always. And we record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. at 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. No, I am not saying that. 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the only one you need to know. Google it at ftwlive.com. See you guys next week.
Later.
This episode of the FTW Podcast has been brought to you by FTWLive.com. We record every episode of our show in front of a live studio audience. Check out FTWLive.com to see how you can get involved in this discussion, as well as all